Alright guys, so scraping ceilings, popcorn ceiling, relatively easy. It's a pain in the ass mess, but all you gotta do is spray it down with water first, hot water. Get rid of the pump sprays that they use for lawns, cleaning air conditioners, all that good stuff. And you can kind of see where I've hit already in the ceiling. Definitely don't be afraid to get it wet, because if you do, you're gonna hit these little spots in the wall and you're gonna feel it. You're gonna be gliding, you're gonna be doing great when you decide to scrape the ceiling off. And next thing you know, like I said, you're gonna hit that dry patch and you're gonna know it. Now, some people say that you should just do little sections at a time, but honestly, it's best to just get it soaked fairly wet. I mean, you don't want to take the hose to it, but you still want to get it fairly wet. You can see from my video here that you can see the spots that I've already sprayed. It'll start looking damp, but yeah, it's gonna get wet. I mean, I'm getting wet myself. I don't know if you can see all that, but getting wet. It's good. But if you soak it, you won't have problems. Get it done. And if you gotta put more on, go for it. But it's best to get it done the first time. Another thing with these pump sprayers, you can't just go down, go up. You gotta pump them big time. See, I can even come back to my camera and see. Oh, there's a spot right here. Let's see, get everything. And what's funny is I thought some of these spots were actually spots I didn't hit yet, but that's actually your putty line. So no, when you go to scrape this, you really want to take your time. I'll show you the sprayer in just a second, and then we'll get scraping. All right, guys, so this is from Home Depot. I know it's hard to see. Popcorn ceiling scraper, $10. Only bad thing about this that I don't like, but you can, is when you get up to the edge of your wall here, you don't get it. But you can push all the way, because this does have some flexibility, and I think that's another reason. One, so popcorn ceiling can fall in, but why that gives a little bit of room, because that will flex past it, because you really want to hit the wall, drag. Hit the wall, drag. And that's the best way to do it. I'm going to hit this one more time, just a little bit lightly, make sure everything got hit. Like I said, you don't want to fall into a spot where you don't have water. You can almost fill this pump sprayer up almost to here and do the whole ceiling in a room that's, let's just say 14 by 14. You'd be good. If it's 10 by 10, maybe a little bit less, but just don't be afraid to really get this ceiling coated. And another good thing is if you could start seeing the drywall spackle marks, then you're in good shape. But the biggest issue with removing popcorn ceiling is the reason that they used to do them. One, somebody in this world thought they were pretty, but boy, are they not. And another reason is back in the day, when they put up drywall, they used nails. So, with that being said, you're going to have some really crappy drywall jobs, even though back then, really, it was phenomenal, because for these guys to sit there with a hammer that almost looks like a hatchet, and they whack the drywall, flip the hammer over, and they wouldn't use a knife, in a T-square and score your drywall, crack it, and cut it. They used to just have the hammer, take it, whoosh, snap, whoosh, whack it again, put it up, nail in the mouth. Pretty phenomenal. But yeah, it was phenomenal, back in the 50s and this and that. But this house was built in the 80s that I'm working on, and it still has nails. So, that's the biggest issue, is you're not, it's running into drywall that you might have to patch up. You'll probably end up patching it anyway, but I'll show you guys what this will look like. And it all went right in the bag, 100%. And then what you do is you go and just get a little garbage bag, flip it to the side, shake it all out, and that's it. I mean, really, it's pretty phenomenal. But I could see right here, some of that drywall just wasn't having it to come off. But this stuff comes off very easily. It's clean. It's not dirty. You try scraping this dry, forget about it. It's just not the right way to go about it. You want to take your time. Because, you get into a spot where you're jam, you're going to have problems. It should go nice and smooth. So if you get jammed up, you might be hitting drywall, you might be hitting a groove, you might be hitting those imperfected spots, and you might have to hit it from the other direction, kind of like this, and get that off. That's why I said don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to scrape it. Now, I'll try to get a little bit of a better shot here, but I'll show you if this is my corner, how you want to go down on this. You want to pull down and you'll get a decent edge. And then once you do get done with that, you should have a decent edge where it's not going to be too hard, but you have to watch out because you're going to see that some people use tape, some people didn't use tape. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to run into. Just grab my putty knife here so I can also show you guys that you don't want to jam these corners. It's the last thing that you want to do. And that's why I should have waited maybe an extra few minutes just for this drywall. But you could see on these edges here, you get a putty knife, you know, especially if you're gonna repaint this isn't a big deal. You just scrape all that down, maybe take your knife, gently go over, but this here, this little flap, now it's hard to see, but that little flap there is what you want to look out for. You know, this should be easy. You shouldn't be putting almost no pressure on this. You put pressure, you're gonna gouge that. You don't want that, because you're gonna have to go back over it with a putty knife. It's not fun. You just lightly hit it. You know, you might have to open a window because of moisture, but I mean, this stuff comes off, and now I'm making a mess for you guys because I got a bag and I don't need to be doing this. But you know, it's just good to know that, you know, you really do want to let this sit. I use warm water because it kind of steams up, and then you can kind of see through this. You know, these are dry spots. It's okay for this to get a little damp, but you're ripping it off right away. You open the window, moisture gets out, you're good, and you'll have some seriously clean scrapes. You might have to go back with your knife and get the rest, but other than that, you should be good. You know, like I said, you might have some issues. You know, I'm going to show you something here. Nice surprise, right? With the rest of the room, great. I'm gonna put recessed lights in. It's gonna be beautiful. That AC's gotta go, everything's gotta get gutted. And then, when you start getting really good, you'll start having rooms that look like this. This is just a finished product in this old 80s home. Well, bam. Oh yeah. You're not gonna find that. That's a good trim, nice cuts, beautiful bedroom, sunroom, whatever you want to call it. This is what happens. You start getting crazy because you work too much. But that's what you want to do. That's how you scrape a ceiling. Anybody has questions, you can always inbox me. You can send me a comment. I'll get to it. No big deal. I'm going to start making videos because I have been doing this for so long now. I own my own company. We do good work. I stand behind my work. You know, I've never let a customer down, but I'm going to start making these videos. So maybe you guys can make it a little bit easier and kind of go from there, and love to help out anyone. So, salute. Thanks for watching.